A human vessel decloaked. The price of galactic ignorance ended in blood across the stars. HFY, a human vessel decloaked. The price of galactic ignorance ended in blood across the stars. HFY Part 1. The Silent Arrival. Far from the bright core worlds of the Drathari Combine, there was a lonely system with a dim yellow star. Around that star moved a dry mining world called Koreth 9. Its surface was rough and broken. Wide deserts stretched across the land. Deep cuts in the ground showed where machines had once dug for rare minerals. Years ago, humans had lived there in secret. They had built small domes near the old mining pits. They had grown food under clear shields. They had worked quietly, hoping the Drathari would not notice them. They did not want war. They only wanted a place to start again. But the Drathari Combine ruled this sector. They were tall, gray-skinned beings with sharp eyes and long limbs. They believed they were the natural rulers of the stars. In their records, humans were marked as a weak species, emotional, divided, easy to push aside. Long ago, the Drathari had forced humans out of 3 outer systems. Human ships had retreated. Colonies had gone dark. The Drathari Council had laughed and said the problem was solved. They were wrong. On Koreth 9, the human colony tried to stay hidden. They kept power low. They sent no signals into deep space. Children played inside metal halls while parents worked in silence. They all knew the risk. They all hoped the risk would not find them. It did. A Drathari patrol fleet entered the system without warning. 3 cruisers and 1 carrier moved into orbit above Koreth 9. Their hulls were smooth and curved, glowing faint blue along their edges. The human colony detected them too late. Alarms sounded inside the domes. Red lights flashed across the narrow corridors. Parents grabbed their children. Workers ran from control rooms. A distress signal was sent into deep space on an old, hidden frequency. Then the sky burned. From orbit, the Drathari ships fired plasma lances at the surface. Bright beams struck the domes. Shields failed within seconds. Metal and glass shattered. Sand turned to black glass under the heat. Inside the main habitat, a man named Oliver Kane tried to seal a door to protect the lower levels. Beside him, a medic named Lily Ross pulled 2 injured miners toward a stairwell. They did not make it far. The second strike hit the center of the colony. The ground shook like an earthquake. The ceiling broke apart. Fire and smoke filled the air. Within 15 minutes, the colony was gone. From orbit, Drathari Commander Zerk watched the destruction on a wide tactical screen. He stood tall and still, his long fingers resting behind his back. Primitive settlements, he said calmly. No registered claim. No diplomatic clearance. This system belongs to the Combine. One of his officers shifted slightly. There were life signs before the strike, the officer said. Mostly civilians. Zerk did not look away from the screen. They should have known their place. He ordered the fleet to leave a warning beacon in orbit. A message would be broadcast on open channels. Human trespass would not be tolerated. Then the Drathari ships turned and left the system. The burning remains of Koreth 9 were left behind in silence. Far beyond Drathari space, hidden between dark nebula clouds and cold asteroid fields, something moved. It did not shine. It did not send signals. It did not appear on normal scans. A single human warship drifted in perfect stillness. Its name was Horizon Dawn. Its hull was long and angular, built from dark alloy that absorbed light. Weapon ports lined its sides. Heavy engines rested at its rear, quiet but powerful. Layered across its frame were advanced cloaking systems that bent light and masked energy output. Inside the ship, the air was calm and cool. Lights were soft and steady. Crew members moved with quiet focus. On the command deck stood Captain Ethan Cole. He was a man in his early 40s with short brown hair and steady gray eyes. His uniform was simple and dark. No medals, no decorations, just a small silver emblem of the Human Defense Command. He watched a tactical display in front of him. The screen showed a blinking red icon. "Incoming transmission confirmed," said Commander Lucas Gray. Lucas was younger, sharp-faced, and serious. He handled tactical systems. His hands moved quickly across the console as he decoded the signal. "Captain, it is from Koreth 9. The deck grew quiet. Lieutenant Ryan Brooks, seated at weapons control, turned slowly in his chair. Dr. Amanda Clark looked up from a data pad. Engineer Daniel Price paused his diagnostics feed from engineering. Lucas finished decoding. "Colony destroyed," he said softly. "Multiple civilian casualties. Time stamp 36 minutes ago. Signal automated after impact." No one spoke for several seconds. Captain Cole kept his eyes on the red icon. His face did not change, but his jaw tightened slightly. "Confirm no survivors," he said. Lucas checked deeper scans from long-range probes that had been monitoring the region. Thermal readings minimal, atmosphere contamination rising. No active human signals detected. Silence filled the deck again. Years ago, after the first human retreats, the Defense Command had created a hidden program. Humanity would not fight openly again, not until it was ready. They had built ships like Horizon Dawn in secret shipyards hidden in deep space. They had studied alien weapons. They had learned from every defeat. They had improved. Horizon Dawn was the first of its class. It was not built to patrol. It was built to send a message. Captain Cole finally spoke. "Prepare to move." Daniel Price's voice came through from engineering. "Engines can be brought to full output in 2 minutes. Amanda stepped closer to the main console. "Cloaking field stable. We can approach undetected." Ryan rested his hand near the firing controls. "Weapons at standby. All systems green." Captain Cole nodded once. "Set course for Koreth 9. Outside, the dark ship slowly shifted. Engines glowed faintly, but the light bent inward, swallowed by the cloak. Horizon Dawn slipped into faster-than-light travel without a flash. The stars stretched and vanished. Hours later, the ship exited near the outer edge of the Koreth system. From a distance, Koreth 9 looked like a scar. Large black marks covered its surface. Faint smoke rose into thin atmosphere. Broken metal reflected weak sunlight. The Drathari warning beacon orbited above the planet. It broadcast a repeating message in several languages. "This system is under the protection of the Drathari Combine. Unauthorized settlement will result in immediate destruction." On the bridge of Horizon Dawn, the message played in cold audio tones. Ryan's hands tightened into fists. "They left a warning," he said quietly, "after killing civilians." Captain Cole stepped forward. "Bring us closer." Remain cloaked. The human warship moved slowly toward the planet. Sensors scanned the surface. Images of shattered domes appeared on screen, burned vehicles, collapsed tunnels. Amanda lowered her head for a moment. Lucas spoke in a steady voice. "Drathari Patrol Group departed system 28 minutes after attack. Current Drathari presence limited to beacon and 1 long-range scout at outer orbit." Captain Cole studied the scout's path. "They think the lesson is finished," he said. He turned to Lucas. "Open channel to human command. Priority code black." Lucas sent the encoded burst transmission. It traveled through hidden relay satellites placed years earlier. "Message sent," he confirmed. Captain Cole looked at the ruins of Koreth 9. "Activate recording systems," he said. Full documentation. Camera drones deployed from Horizon Dawn, still cloaked. They drifted down to the surface and began scanning every destroyed structure. Inside the ship, crew members watched images of empty hallways and broken homes. A small toy lay half buried in ash near what had once been a school section. No one spoke. After several minutes, a reply signal arrived from deep human space. It carried a simple authorization code. "Retaliation protocol approved." Captain Cole closed his eyes briefly. Years of planning had led to this moment. He opened them again. "Bring us within weapons range of the beacon," he ordered. The human vessel moved into high orbit above Korath 9. The Drathari scout ship continued its slow path, unaware. "Distance to beacon optimal," Ryan reported. Captain Cole gave the order, "Decloak." Space shimmered. For a brief second, light bent strangely near the planet. Then Horizon Dawn appeared in full view. Dark, massive, silent. The Drathari scout reacted at once. Alarm signals flashed from its hull as it tried to scan the sudden contact. Too late. Ryan fired a single precision rail shot. The metal slug crossed space in a blink. It struck the Drathari beacon at its center. The structure exploded into fragments of burning debris. The scout ship turned sharply, sending a distress signal toward Drathari space. Lucas tracked it. "Signal launched," he said. "Enemy cruiser group will respond within the hour." Captain Cole watched the burning pieces of the beacon fall toward the planet. "Good," he said quietly. "Let them come." Above the scarred world of Korath 9, a human warship hung in open view for the first time in years. It did not send threats. It did not send demands. It simply waited. The stars around it seemed very still. The age of silence was over. The Drathari fleet received the distress signal immediately. Bright screens in the command halls of their ships showed a massive, dark human vessel where nothing should have been. The sudden appearance of Horizon Dawn shocked even the bravest officers. Commander Zerk, standing tall on the bridge of the lead cruiser, narrowed his eyes. This was impossible. Humans were supposed to be scattered, weak, unarmed. Yet here was a single ship, massive and alive, decloaked in full view. "Prepare weapons," he ordered. "Surround it. We will capture it and display it as proof of our strength." His officers hesitated only briefly. Then the fleet moved as one. 3 cruisers formed a triangle, keeping distance but closing fast. Fighter swarms followed behind, ready to strike. Zerk's voice was calm but firm. "They will not escape." Inside Horizon Dawn, Captain Ethan Cole stood on the command deck. He did not panic. His crew worked quietly but with speed. Commander Lucas Gray analyzed the enemy formation. It was predictable, rigid. They moved like every other Drathari fleet he had studied from deep scans. Lieutenant Ryan Brooks looked at the weapons control panels. Rails primed, torpedoes ready. The crew had trained for this moment for years. Captain Cole spoke softly but clearly. "Fire when ready." The first shot came silently. A rail cannon released a superdense projectile. It moved faster than the eye could follow. One Drathari cruiser split apart in a sudden explosion. Metal tore, energy discharged. The hull was gone before anyone could react. The second cruiser tried to maneuver, but Amanda Clark, monitoring targeting systems, calculated the exact trajectory. A torpedo struck the ship's engines. The cruiser shuddered, then drifted, dead in space. The third cruiser tried to flee. Ryan fired another rail round. The projectile passed cleanly through the cruiser's bridge and tore a massive hole through its hull. Alarms blared on its systems as it spiraled out of control. Zerk's officers screamed at the comms. They did not understand. How could one human ship destroy 3 of their vessels so quickly? Pride gave way to fear. Captain Cole remained calm. Humanity never fought for pride, he thought. They fought for survival. The humans who had fallen on Korath 9 demanded a response. The Drathari High Command had no time to react. More human weapons activated. A quiet hum came from the experimental bays inside Horizon Dawn. Drone swarms launched, invisible at first, then striking fighters and frigates alike. Small, fast, and precise, they tore through the enemy ranks. Zerk's fleet tried to regroup. Energy shields flared and collided with human rail fire. The air in the Drathari command centers smelled of burning circuitry. Explosions rang out inside multiple ships at once. Captain Cole gave no orders beyond the next move. Lucas Gray tracked the larger formation. He pointed at a weak cluster near the center. Captain Cole nodded. Target them. The human ship activated a secondary drive, something not seen before by alien intelligence. A field of bending light folded the ship for an instant. Horizon Dawn vanished from enemy sensors. The Drathari fleet scrambled, searching frantically for the target. When Horizon Dawn reappeared, it was behind the main formation. Energy beams focused on multiple capital ships simultaneously. Hulls groaned, shields overloaded, explosions ripped through decks. Fighter squadrons could not escape the crossfire. Fear spread across the Drathari crews. This was no ordinary human vessel. It was a weapon of precision, built in silence, trained in patience. It was built to strike. Zerk banged a fist against the console. "Fire everything," he shouted. "Destroy it at all costs." Inside Horizon Dawn, Lieutenant Brooks smiled slightly. "Maximum output," he said, feeding the next sequence into the weapons system. Captain Cole observed the battlefield. Years of waiting, studying, and preparing led to this. Every drill, every hidden facility, every secret test had been for this moment. Doctor. Amanda Clark's drones moved faster than the Drathari could track. Ships collided with one another as pilots tried to evade unseen attacks. Rail rounds punched clean through energy shields. Torpedoes detonated inside hangars, killing hundreds of enemy crew in seconds. Engineer Daniel Price monitored power distribution. Engines strained, shields hummed, weapon capacitors glowed. All systems held. The ship remained intact despite immense pressure. Hours passed in the blink of an eye. Horizon Dawn cut through the fleet with precision. Destruction followed, but it was not chaos. It was controlled, calculated. The humans were not reckless. They were efficient. A message came from the Drathari capital fleet. Another group of ships was on the way. Dozens of cruisers and destroyers, enough to surround Horizon Dawn and crush it. Captain Cole did not flinch. "Bring us to the outer edge of the system," he ordered. "Remain decloaked, but keep engines minimal." The Drathari fleet pursued slowly, assuming they had the advantage. Lucas Gray ran simulations. "They believe the humans were alone," he said. "They do not know what is hidden." Horizon Dawn waited. Sensors scanned empty space. Nothing moved. No debris. All was quiet except for the hum of the engines. Then the human ship shifted again. Cloaking drive activated. The hull disappeared from all visual and energy scans. The fleet, confident, advanced blindly into the sector. Minutes later, Horizon Dawn reappeared inside the main formation. Every weapon activated at once. Rail cannons, torpedoes, and energy beams focused fire on the largest cruisers. Shields failed in moments. Massive explosions tore through multiple decks. Fighter squadrons were shredded. Zerk tried to call for retreat, but the communications lines were jammed by human electronic countermeasures. Confusion spread. Some ships fired on allies by accident. Others collided as pilots panicked. Inside Horizon Dawn, Captain Cole did not watch the destruction. He watched the small screen showing the last known human settlements in the system. He thought of the civilians lost. Korath 9 had paid a price, but the humans would not forget. Daniel Price noted strain on engines. "Captain," he said, "power is holding, but shields are near limits." Lucas Gray confirmed enemy ship clusters approaching from long-range scans. "They are regrouping," he said. "Too many for a single strike." Captain Cole nodded. "We fight smart, not blindly," he said. He activated the secondary weapon system. An experimental gravity compression device, built in secrecy, powered by the main reactor, was ready. It created a distortion field capable of crushing ships without traditional explosions. The human vessel drifted closer to the densest cluster of cruisers. The field expanded slowly at first, invisible. Alarms rang across the Drathari fleet. They tried evasive maneuvers. Too late. Metal twisted. Hulls collapsed inward. Energy readings spiked before disappearing. Ships fell apart as if space itself rejected them. Chaos reigned. The surviving vessels broke formation and fled. The first strike had ended. Horizon Dawn remained intact. The crew worked quietly to assess damage and recalibrate weapons. Captain Cole addressed them. "We have made our point. They will think twice before underestimating humanity again." Ryan Brooks wiped sweat from his brow. "Sir," he said quietly, "the fleet we just faced, they will send more. Bigger ships, more fighters." Captain Cole did not answer immediately. He studied the stars beyond Korath 9. Humanity had spent decades in silence. Now silence had ended. Lucas Gray turned to him. "Sir, orders, stay ready," he said. "We fight when necessary, we strike when necessary, and we will survive." The Horizon Dawn drifted in orbit over the scarred planet. Debris floated in the upper atmosphere. Fires still burned below. The crew looked at the images on the main screens. Domes destroyed, vehicles melted, the landscape blackened. They did not celebrate. Survival was not about joy. It was about remembering, learning, and preparing for what comes next. Hours passed. The Drathari fleet sent smaller groups to scan the system. All vanished under the watchful sensors of Horizon Dawn. Drones flew silently, unseen, monitoring every movement. Captain Cole walked slowly across the bridge. He stopped by each officer, nodding silently. He did not need words. They understood. The human ship would not leave. It would remain in position until the Drathari learned their lesson, and it would do more than wait. Far in the distance, other Drathari scouts were approaching the system. They carried sensors, long-range weapons, and arrogance. They believed the humans could be overwhelmed. Horizon Dawn powered up quietly, every weapon system online, drones in orbit, shields at maximum, cloaking ready if needed. The first strike had shown power. The second strike would show precision. Above Korath 9, the stars watched silently as a human vessel held its place in space, a single dark shape against the glowing nebula. The price of ignorance had begun. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity did not fight like other races. They fought with patience, with planning, with determination. And no one would ever mistake silence for weakness again. The Drathari Council had gathered in their central command station, a massive ring-shaped structure orbiting a gas giant. Hundreds of leaders, officers, and strategists watched the tactical screens showing the destruction of their fleets. Panic and fear rippled through the room, though most tried to hide it behind stern faces. Commander Zerk stood at the front, flanked by two aides. He clenched his fists, the veins in his long arms visible under his gray skin. This was not supposed to happen. Humans were weak. Humans were scattered. Humans should have been easy prey. Yet here they were, cutting through fleets with surgical precision. An officer, younger and nervous, spoke. "Sir, they cannot be stopped with conventional fleets. Our cruisers, carriers, even dreadnoughts, they fall before a single ship." Zerk's eyes narrowed. "Bring in the capital fleet, every vessel within jump range. Surround them, crush them." The council hesitated. Their pride wanted to act quickly, but logic warned them. The humans had shown patience, planning, and skill. They were not reckless. The council finally agreed. Hundreds of ships emerged from faster-than-light travel, forming a massive formation near the outer rim of Drathari space. Battleships, carriers, fighter squadrons, and destroyers all moved into position. They intended to trap Horizon Dawn, assuming it would flee. They underestimated human strategy. Inside Horizon Dawn, Captain Ethan Cole studied the incoming fleet on the main display. The formation was large, dense, and rigid, predictable. Lucas Gray ran calculations for hundreds of possible scenarios. All pointed to the same truth. Humans could survive this fight if they used careful planning and every hidden advantage. Captain Cole addressed the crew quietly. "We remember Korath 9, every life lost, every mistake. Today, we show that humanity does not forget." Amanda Clark activated experimental drone swarms. Hundreds of tiny machines launched from hidden bays. They were small, fast, and armed with powerful explosives. The Drathari fighters would not see them coming. Ryan Brooks primed the rail cannons, adjusting angles and power levels for maximum effect. Engineer Daniel Price monitored the reactors, ensuring every joule of energy was directed to shields, weapons, and propulsion. Horizon Dawn moved slowly, appearing calm. The human ship let the enemy approach, drawing them into position. The first contact would decide the battle. The Drathari opened fire. Massive beams of energy shot from their capital ships. Explosions lit the void as shields flared. The human ship held steady. Shields absorbed the hits. The crew remained focused. The drones struck. They moved like shadows, invisible until they exploded inside fighter swarms. Hundreds of Drathari fighters were destroyed in seconds. Remaining fighters panicked and collided with one another. Rail cannons fired. Torpedoes launched. Human weapons struck capital ships in weak points identified months earlier through long-range scans. Explosions rocked enemy hulls. Crew members screamed inside the enemy ships. The human vessel remained unharmed. Commander Zerk ordered volleys against the human ship. His dreadnoughts fired full salvos. Fighters swarmed from all directions. Yet Horizon Dawn vanished from sensors. Cloaking drives bent light and energy readings. The Drathari fleet could not target it. Then it appeared behind the main formation. Precision strikes tore through capital ships. Explosions destroyed bridges, hangars, and weapons arrays. Fighter squadrons were obliterated before they could react. Confusion spread. The fleet broke formation, some ships firing at allies. Inside Horizon Dawn, Captain Cole watched the destruction calmly. His crew worked silently, efficiently. Lucas Gray coordinated targeting, predicting enemy movements. Amanda Clark adjusted drone patterns in real time. Ryan Brooks fired rail rounds with unerring accuracy. Daniel Price ensured engines and reactors did not overload under strain. Zerk's panic grew. He attempted a retreat order. Many ships tried to escape. Too many had already been hit. Explosions lit the dark space. Debris floated around like deadly stars. Captain Cole knew this was not the final strike. He activated the gravity compression device, the secret weapon hidden for years. It generated a field that distorted space around the densest group of enemy ships. Ships twisted. Hulls cracked under immense pressure. Metal bent unnaturally. The field crushed the larger cruisers without the loud explosions humans had come to associate with space battles. The Drathari formation collapsed. Some ships managed to escape, sending distress signals to distant fleets. Others were completely destroyed. The cost of arrogance was clear. Pride had blinded them. Lucas Gray reported a new fleet approaching from long range. More cruisers, destroyers, and carriers. They believed the humans could be overwhelmed by numbers. Captain Cole nodded. Let them come. They will learn patience is not weakness. Ryan Brooks prepared weapons again. Amanda Clark coordinated drones. Daniel Price monitored every system, ready for any sudden overload. Horizon Dawn was ready. The human ship had taken minor damage during the first wave, but it held strong. Repairs were underway in critical sections. Every crew member worked with silent focus. None celebrated. Survival was duty, not pride. Hours passed. New enemy groups entered the system. Horizon Dawn did not flee. It moved slowly, adjusting position, waiting for perfect strike points. The crew knew speed and timing were more important than reckless fire. Zerk's fleet continued to advance, believing sheer numbers would win. But the human ship was a ghost. It struck unpredictably, fading from sensors and reappearing in vulnerable positions. Enemy capital ships fell one by one. Fighters and support craft were destroyed without mercy. Captain Cole remained focused on the goal. Humanity had been pushed out of the galaxy before. They had learned from it. Patience, planning, and technology would win the day. This was not war for conquest. This was war for survival. The gravity compression field was used again on a large cruiser group. Multiple ships were crushed simultaneously. Alarms rang across Drathari space. Confusion and fear spread. Fleets broke apart. Some ships attempted retreat. Many were destroyed before they could escape. The cost of arrogance was staggering. Zerk's pride had blinded him to human capability. His fleet was broken. Messages to the capital fleet were sent frantically, begging for support. Humans were stronger, smarter, and more prepared than the Drathari had imagined. Inside Horizon Dawn, Captain Cole addressed the crew quietly. "Today we have shown them what humanity can do. We have not lost a single ship. We have preserved life where we could. And we have sent a clear message. Humanity does not forget." Lucas Gray monitored the last signals from fleeing Drathari ships. The enemy was reorganizing, but they were cautious. Humanity's patience and strength were now clear to every observer in the system. Ryan Brooks cleaned his rail cannon controls. Amanda Clark began analyzing data to optimize drone patterns for future engagements. Daniel Price supervised emergency repairs and power distribution. The crew worked tirelessly but silently. There was no celebration, only focus. Horizon Dawn hovered above the shattered remains of Korath 9. The smoke and fire from the destroyed colony had long dissipated, leaving blackened scars on the surface. The planet was silent, empty, and still. Captain Cole gazed at the planet. The lives lost would not be forgotten. Humanity had struck, but with restraint and purpose. This battle was a lesson. Humans did not attack out of pride, they acted when necessary. They acted to survive. Outside, the stars were quiet. Horizon Dawn drifted in orbit, a dark shadow against the void. The Drathari fleet had retreated to regroup. Distant signals indicated more forces were mobilizing, but Horizon Dawn remained ready. The first wave had proven humanity's skill. The second wave would test their patience. The third wave would learn respect. And Captain Cole knew one truth clearly: humans did not fight like other races. They waited, they learned, and they struck with precision. The galaxy would remember this day. The human ship engaged minor cloaking intermittently, avoiding sensors while observing every incoming enemy movement. The crew worked without rest, analyzing, calculating, preparing. As night passed in orbit above Korath 9, Horizon Dawn remained vigilant. The price of arrogance had been paid by the Drathari, and the humans had only begun to show their strength. Captain Cole spoke softly to himself, watching the tactical screens. "We fight not for pride, not for glory. We fight for survival, for those who cannot fight, for humanity." The crew understood without words. They would follow his orders. They would endure. They would prevail. The galaxy was learning a harsh lesson. Do not underestimate humanity. Do not mistake silence for weakness. And Horizon Dawn waited, ready for the next strike. Ready for the next lesson. Ready to remind the stars why humans survived when others believed they could not. The cost of arrogance was written in fire, metal, and shattered ships across the void. And the lesson was far from over. The Drathari fleet that had survived the first and second waves regrouped near the edge of their home system. Their ships were damaged, morale low, and commanders fearful. Even distant patrols reported the strength of the human vessel. Whispers spread through the ranks: humans were not weak, humans were dangerous, and humans were patient. Commander Zerk, bruised in pride and shaken in spirit, addressed the council again. He stood tall, but his voice wavered. They expected him to speak with confidence. Instead, he spoke with caution. "Our fleets are shattered. The humans, they are unlike any enemy we have faced. We must consider negotiations." The council murmured. Pride and fear battled in their hearts. Many refused to accept that humans had surpassed them. Some demanded more fleets, more firepower, more destruction. Others, older and wiser, argued that they could not risk total annihilation of their forces. Humanity had proven their patience, skill, and strength. The cost of arrogance was clear. Inside Horizon Dawn, Captain Ethan Cole monitored all incoming signals. He saw the hesitation in the enemy fleet. He saw the fear in their patterns, the confusion in their maneuvers. He did not celebrate. There was still work to be done. Lucas Gray ran simulations on the Council's signals. Any move they made now would be predictable. He predicted the safest paths for retreat, the weak points in their defenses, and the best positions for human advantage. Captain Cole spoke quietly to the bridge crew. "They have learned fear," he said. "Now we teach caution. The humans do not seek conquest, but we do not forgive ignorance." Ryan Brooks adjusted weapon systems. Torpedoes, rail cannons, drone swarms, all ready. Daniel Price monitored engine output. Every system balanced for maximum efficiency. Amanda Clark coordinated the drones, now numbering over 1,000. They moved like shadows through the empty space, ready to strike. The Drathari sent an envoy through the remaining functioning comm channels. The message was direct, urgent, and filled with fear. "We request a ceasefire. We offer terms. We acknowledge your strength. We wish to avoid further bloodshed." Captain Cole studied the message. He did not smile. He did not show anger. He simply considered the words, the weight behind them. The humans had no desire to destroy the entire Drathari race. They only sought respect and safety for those who had suffered. "Prepare a response," he said. "Relay instructions for a formal meeting. We go by their rules but maintain full readiness." Hours later, in orbit above Korath 9, a single Drathari shuttle appeared. It carried the envoy personally under strict guard. Inside Horizon Dawn, the crew watched silently. The shuttle approached slowly, unarmed but tense. The humans did not fire. They did not threaten. They simply observed. Captain Cole greeted the envoy. His voice was calm. He explained the full sequence of events, from the secret colonies to the massacre that had triggered retaliation. He showed images of destroyed domes, burned fields, and fallen civilians. He did not shout. He did not plead. He presented facts. The envoy, tall and gray-skinned, expected rage, fury, and vengeance. Instead, he saw methodical restraint. The humans had struck with precision. They had punished the guilty. They had avoided unnecessary destruction where possible. Captain Cole spoke quietly. "Humanity has spent decades in silence, learning, preparing, and rebuilding. We offered peace once. You answered with fire." The envoy listened, silent. The terms were clear. The Drathari would recognize human sovereignty over outer systems. Settlements would not be disturbed. Reparations for destroyed colonies would be delivered. Demilitarized zones would be enforced. Humanity would not seek conquest, but it would defend itself. The envoy nodded slowly. Fear and respect were both visible. He had seen what humans could do. He had felt the weight of their patience. He had learned that arrogance against humanity carried a high cost. Inside Horizon Dawn, the crew prepared for any sudden moves. Weapons remained online. Drones remained in orbit. Every system was ready. They had learned from past battles. Readiness was survival. Daniel Price supervised the repair crews. Minor damage from earlier engagements had been fixed, shields recalibrated, engines tuned. The ship gleamed darkly under the soft lights of the command deck. Lucas Gray continued to analyze fleet positions. No hidden Drathari forces remained nearby. For now, the humans had established control over the sector. Ryan Brooks ran drills with the crew, preparing for emergencies. Every hand knew their position, every officer their duty. Discipline and focus had been the backbone of human survival, and it remained so. Hours later, the shuttle departed. The envoy carried the terms back to the council. They would be delivered, enforced, and remembered. The humans had sent a message that would echo across the galaxy. Do not underestimate patience, intelligence, and preparedness. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Captain Cole walked along the bridge, observing each officer. No words were spoken. Understanding passed silently among them. They had survived, they had achieved their goal, and they had done it without unnecessary loss. Outside, Korath 9 remained scarred but still in orbit, a silent reminder of the cost of ignorance and arrogance. Humanity had acted with precision, not passion, and the stars had taken notice. The human vessel did not linger unnecessarily. Course was set for distant systems, to continue guarding colonies, monitoring threats, and preparing for future challenges. Horizon Dawn remained a shadow in the void, cloaked and vigilant. Lucas Gray adjusted long-range sensors. Reports from other sectors indicated smaller Drathari patrols hesitating, unsure of how to approach human territory. Humanity had shifted the balance, not with sheer numbers but with strategy, skill, and resolve. Captain Cole spoke quietly, more to himself than anyone else. Humanity does not seek war, but humanity will never again be ignored. The crew understood. They had seen the strength of human patience and planning. They had seen the results of careful preparation and decisive action. The galaxy had learned its lesson, and Horizon Dawn had become the symbol of it. As stars streaked past the ship's viewports in the quiet of faster-than-light travel, the bridge was calm. No celebration, no cheer, only focus. Survival had been the goal, and survival had been achieved. Future challenges would come. Other races, other fleets, other threats. Horizon Dawn would meet them with the same discipline, the same precision, the same patience. Humanity had learned its own value, and now the galaxy would remember it. The ship engaged its cloaking system and disappeared from the scanners of the galaxy, leaving only a shadow of fear and respect. Behind it, a system burned lightly with the memory of human power, and the stars understood a single truth: never mistake silence for weakness. Humanity had returned. It had spoken. It had won respect without surrendering morality. Horizon Dawn drifted into the dark, a vessel of both warning and promise, carrying a message that would echo across the galaxy for generations. Humanity is not weak. Humanity endures. Humanity survives. And in the quiet of space, the crew worked silently, preparing for what would come next, knowing that the cost of ignorance had been paid in blood, but the reward of understanding had been gained. The galaxy had been reminded that humans do not forget, they do not surrender, and they do not yield to arrogance. Horizon Dawn, decloaked and vigilant, moved forward into the stars, leaving behind a galaxy that now knew the price of underestimating humanity.